Have you ever wanted to build your own style for Minecolonies but are overwhelmed by the idea of how much work it could be? Well, fear not. In this video, I'm going to go over how easy and simple it can be to create your own cool style for Minecolonies. This video is also going to showcase a design I'm starting. If you ever wanted to try Minecolonies but don't want to commit to building a huge, sprawling settlement, or if you just want to utilize some of the cooler buildings from the mod without building a complete colony, then hopefully this style will help you achieve this goal. It's going to be a modular pod-based design where all the buildings are 5x5 cubes that slot into prefabricated decoration buildings. Also at 6 PM UK time tonight, I'm going to be live streaming me developing this style. So do pop in and maybe give me some tips, tricks, let me know what you want to see from this style that we're going to do. Anyway, enough of the talking, let's get to the action. Okay, so here we go. Now I've created a flat area. What I would suggest to you guys at home is that you make a pre-built creative world, one of the super flat ones that's nothing but grass, because that's going to make things much easier to build. But we've got a nice backdrop of some mountains here and some trees, so I'm fine with that. We've also got plenty of space to start working. And you can also see I've set out these 5x5 squares along here, and these are going to be basically the canvases where we're going to build our designs for our buildings. They're all 5 blocks by 5 blocks, the size we're going for this pod build. Basically, we want buildings to be the same size so you can pick whichever one you want, and it will all fit into the same slot. Now, before we get going, any questions or queries, or if you just want to have a read about what you're doing, the Minecolonies official wiki has a really great page that does detail everything you need to know about building your own style. So your building style should begin with the supply camp. This is a building that people can put down. It doesn't require any of the blocks within it to be made. So the builder won't have to build this. You won't have to gather the materials required to build this building. So it's a great excuse to get as decorative as you want to be with the first building. This is an example of the medieval oak one. It's just really like a wagon with the basic materials that you're going to need to get going with Minecolonies. While it's a cool looking building, this doesn't actually have to be part of your colony, and most people just build something like this that they can then just harvest and destroy later on. But what we're going to try and do is make the supply camp the place where you put the first pod, which is going to be the builder's hut. What the supply camp can also do is function as your first player house, which is why the camp over here has things like a bed inside here somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah, there we go. Some simple storage, a crafting bench, some of the things you're going to need to get going with Minecolonies, like I said. So with that in mind, let's get about building a simple structure that's going to serve as the builder's hut, the town hall, and your player house. So here we go. With the design that I've got in mind, we're going to have like a modular system that should connect to each other. So I'm going to set up firstly using some red wool as like a guideline, our first basic supply camp pod. And we're going 6 blocks high with these stairs here because our pods are going to be 5x5. That means we can slot one pod in the ground floor, but this is going to be a multi-tiered style. So here we go. As you can see, out of wool, red and yellow, I've made like a bit of a wireframe map of how I want this to go. We're going to have 2 pod locations on the bottom, 2 on the middle floor, and then up top, we're going to reserve this for the player house. And that means when you put down this camp, you'll have the top where you can kind of live, do all your crafting. There's a bed and stuff. Then you can put like the builder's hut, the town hall, and then maybe 2 other important buildings down here later on down the line. Now, some buildings do need other things. For example, like the forester's hut needs a place to grow trees, the farmer's hut needs a place to plant fields, and that's why we've got this area as well down at the bottom of these stairs, out front like a big square where you can put whatever building resource your pod requires. So you can put a mine here, some trees for a forester, a field for a farmer, whatever you need. Now, there are going to be some buildings that require more than 5x5 blocks. For example, the tavern is going to need a lot of spare beds. So what I'm thinking for the tavern is we'll combine 2 pods to make one extra large pod that's going to be the tavern, and that'll slot into like a 2 slot. Anyway, red and yellow wool is not what we're going for. Let's turn this into something a bit more in keeping. Now, we're going to stick with the medieval style. I want this style to be something that's very achievable, not too crazy to build. You don't have to run around the world gathering absolutely everything you need. So we're going to stick with the classics, which are wood, cobblestone, and stone brick. Now, a great way of planning forwards is to kind of like set out a palette that you want to use. So you can always come down here in creative mode and just middle click whatever block you need, go up there and then put it down. But because this is the supply camp and we don't have to build it, we can kind of break the rules and use whatever materials we want. But because we want it to fit in with the style going forwards, we are going to stick to kind of basic materials. So I'll come back to you once I've turned this wool into a serious building. So here we go, fast forward sometime later, and you can see I've developed that wireframe now into a workable supply camp. We moved the yellow cubes slightly closer together because they didn't quite match up with the vision that I had in my mind. But yeah, as you can see now, we've got room here for 4 pods, 2 down the bottom, 2 on the middle, and on the top we've got this basic skeleton of what's going to be our player house. Now I haven't done the interior yet, but that's something we can get around to doing. For now, I just want to show you how to make a supply camp. And we're very close to being ready to rock. Now you'll notice again on the sides here, we've left these walkways open because basically this is going to become a modular design. You're going to be able to walk from these walkways to the next section of the colony building. And eventually you're going to have a terrace of buildings like this that are full of these pods where we can put the buildings. Okay, so before we can turn this into a supply camp, oh also yeah, make sure you deck this out with all the items you want to give a player for when they start the game. And you can kind of put whatever you want in here. For example, we're going to put a barrel. Why not? Simple as. Plonk it over here, a couple of them. And inside here, the 2 very important items you need to start a colony: a town hall and a build tool. There you go. Now you can put whatever else you want in here, some food, some tools, some basic materials to get started with, and if you're feeling spicy, you can even hide some items like emerald blocks, gold blocks, iron blocks, some coal, diamonds, whatever you want. You really can do whatever you want. You can even give them a full set of diamond gear if you want to go crazy. So the supply camp is almost complete. There's one more thing we need to do before we can call this a completed building. So we're going to need something called a tag anchor block. You can find this pretty simply. Tag anchor, and there you go, it comes up. We also need a scan tool, but that's for later. And for now, we need a tag tool as well. So the reason why we need a tag anchor is so that we can tell the game where the ground level is, because for some reason it might not know. So what we need to do now is take the tag anchor block, put this on the floor like this, then we use the tag tool, shift right click. So now that our tag anchor block has been shift right clicked and it gets this red boundary around it glowing, pretty easy to see where it is, we can right click now in thin air and add a tag. So we're going to go ground level. Close the GUI. Now when we left click on the block, boom, we've applied the ground level tag to this block. This has to be above the ground level, 1 block above, because you can't really replace the ground with one of these ugly tag blocks. This won't be part of the build when we put it down. The game just needs to know this is here so that it can do something with ground level. I'm not quite sure why a supply camp needs a ground level, but it does. So we're basically good to go now. We can grab the scan tool, go to the edge of our building. I think here is one of them. Left click to set the first position. If you've ever used something called World Edit, it's very similar to the way you grab an area with that. And now we need to set another area, but we're gonna use some dirt to get to that point. Bring it over this way. So now we're gonna right click with the scan tool over here, and this should create a nice big square. We'll remove this dirt. And when we right click again with the scan tool, boom, we have a big white area. This is going to be our supply camp. Now again, yeah, it's still unfinished. There's some little bits here and there that I need to tidy up. And of course, we need to add an interior to the house. But for now, to prove this works, we're just going to keep it as it is. Oh, wait, hang on a sec. We've got to remove this yellow wool. So replace near 50 yellow wool with air. Boom, there we go. And now you can see with that yellow wool gone, these are the pods that are going to have our buildings. Pretty cool. So right click again, show resources. This doesn't really matter because the supply camp is free, but as you can see, we used a lot of cobblestone in this build. That's a crazy amount, almost 1,000. We're also using these red shingles that are made with the Architect's Cutter from Domum Ornamentum. And that's a mod that's always bundled with Minecolonies, so those blocks are safe to use. And red shingles, I think they're pretty easy to get. You can just go around, gather up some poppies or some roses, make some red dye, combine them with bricks, and you have the shingles. It's a pretty easy craft, so I feel safe making that one of our staples. Now, you can't give your supply camp a custom name. It always has to be called supply camp, so the game knows that this is a supply camp. So there we go, we can press the tick now, and I think we are good to go. Okay, so now we have the supply camp locked in. We'll work out how to put this into a proper data pack and get it in the right location so it works with the style later on. But for now, let's work on the first two most important buildings of the pack: the Builder's Hut and the Town Hall. Now, like I said, I've arranged these squares of 5x5 with oak floors because all of the buildings we're going to do are going to have oak floors, and this gives us a good idea of what it looks like when it's finished. So the Builder's Hut is going to need one very important thing, the actual Builder's Hut block. But the other important thing that a Builder's Hut needs is a rack. And to make things easier as well, we're going to put a crafting table here too. Now, every building being 5x5 doesn't give us a huge amount of room. In fact, the decoration for these pods is going to be almost negligible. We can, however, get slightly creative. We can give it a bit of a bracing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some oak logs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is the roof. So we'll just do this. We'll put the Builder's Hut at the back, like so. Wait, what? And make sure you hold down Shift and right click, otherwise you get this messy prompt that says, hang on a sec, you need to place a town hall, and then steals your Builder's Hut. So yeah, Shift right click gets rid of that, and there we go, it goes straight down. Then of course, a crafting table over here, and to the right, I don't know what we can put here, something, well, I don't know. Maybe leave it bare for now. And we'll finish up the bracing over here with even more wooden logs. I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but for now we'll just do it because we don't need to worry too much. This is more like a tutorial video to show you how to make these buildings. But there we go, a little wooden cage out of logs, the Builder's Hut, and the crafting table. Now, every single level of the Builder's Hut needs more racks. That's the one big thing that makes it better than the Builder's Hut before it, is how many racks you can actually get in here. Now, the game suggests that you add 1 rack at least per level of Builder's Hut, but I always run out of rack space, so we're going to start with a double rack and build on that. Now, what I'm going to do is something cheeky here. I'm just going to copy and paste what we already have, because that's going to make designing the levels so much easier. So we'll copy this and paste over here. The mod I'm using to do this is something called World Edit. If you know how to build, if you used it before, then you'll know what I'm doing. If not, definitely look into World Edit. It's a very useful tool. But here we go, this is level 1, so at level 2, we're going to add even more rack space. 2 racks over here. Then we'll paste it again, add that rack again, and this is going to be level 3. Now this is where we're going to start to get a lot more racks. So I'm going to put 2 more racks over there. Looking good. Yeah, there we go, loads and loads and loads of rack space. In fact, at level 5, we could even go crazier and add the maximum amount of rack space. Yeah, because it's level 5, right? So it's got to be quite impressive. Now, that's not all. There are some other loose ideas and guidelines about what you should do to make a building more difficult to build at higher levels. For example, the game suggests at level 1, very easy wooden, at level 2, easy iron, at level 3, nether, 4, ocean, and then level 5, end. So we can kind of do that. With level 1 being wood here, level 2, and what we can do is we can kind of just embed these in the roof. Like we can grab an iron bar maybe, or 2. Like this. Yeah, because iron bars are not too hard to get. And we can say, yeah, the entrance to the builder's hut is braced with iron bars, sure. And this is going to be in all the schematics of level 2 going forwards. Amazing. Now level 3 is apparently where it suggests you start using nether materials. So we can literally just, I don't know, find some crimson planks. Crimson planks are pretty easy to do. Slabs, why not? And then we'll put like, I don't know, a couple of slabs at the back there. And again, repeat this in all the higher levels as well so it doesn't look too weird. Then there's the ocean level, and we're going to use prismarine slabs for this. Like that. And then finally for level 5, we're going to use purpur slabs. Very nice. And to give the whole build some light, we're going to add some lanterns. Now when you add lanterns, you don't need to worry about having to craft these. Builders automatically put down lanterns without needing the materials for them. So they're a great kind of, easy way to get light. I never like to use torches in my builds. So there we go. We have our builder's hut. Levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is very cool. Now to make sure we know that this is the builder's hut, we're going to put the builder's hut itself out front here so we know, boom, this is the builder's hut schematics. Next up, we're going to do the town hall. And for the town hall, what we're going to do is we're just going to park this right in the middle of the hut. So boom, 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 put the town halls all in the middle of the schematics. Very cool. And we're going to do the same thing that we did for the builder's hut and design 5 different level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 huts. And I'll come back to you once I've finished that. So here we go, the level 1 town hall just has some cobblestone stairs. Then to mark it going up to level 2, we have some iron bars and these lecterns, so we'll have to get some bookshelves for that. Then at level 3, it gets these warped fences at the back. Level 4, some prismarine stairs. These are not going to be hovering in the build because they're going to be inside one of the pods. So these will be bracing the roof. And then at level 5, we have these end rods. Very cool, very simple. So what are the next steps? What do we have to do now? Well, now we just literally go around with the scan tool and plug all of these in. Left click here, right click here to gather the entire place. There we go, the white outline around the whole pod. Change this to be, we're going to call it builder. Now we go grab the rest and do this for all of them, but every time we do, add another number on the end. So that's builder 2. Then we want builder 3. Okay, so now we have our town hall, levels 1 to 5, our builder's hut, level 1 to 5, and our supply camp, all saved as blueprints. Now we have to compile those into the right folder structure to make them a proper style. So time to hit the desktop. Okay, so as you can see, we're here on the desktop now, and this is our instance folder. This will be different for you depending on what you named the mod pack. This one's called Byzantine Changed for reasons. Well, for reasons. Don't worry about that too much. But yeah, inside blueprints, you'll find all the blueprints we have. So Byzantine is an example of the Byzantine pack we have, and this is an example of a working Minecolonies style pack folder structure. We have fundamentals, which is where we put the builder and the town hall. So we're going to copy this idea. We want a builder and a town hall, town_hall and builder within fundamentals. So we're going to create a new folder, and this is going to be pod style. There we go. Now we're going to add a new folder. Fundamentals. Now, does it have to be caps? I can't remember. No, lowercase is fine. So fundamentals, and then builder and town hall. And inside here, we're going to have the blueprints we need. Now you can ignore the mechanic and insulate guards because that's something that's specific to Byzantine. So pod style fundamental, new folder builder, and new folder, town_hall. So we'll open that in a new tab, come over to my saved blueprints, and this is where my scans are. So we have here all the scans I've done so far. There's a bunch of stuff here that's not relevant to the style pack we're doing. What is relevant though is the builder's blueprints. Here we go, 1 to 5. Copy those. And paste. And then back over here, we're going to grab the town hall. Copy those. And paste them in the town hall folder. Now the last piece of the puzzle is the supply camp. We're going to copy this supply camp, and this has to live in a very special location. Once again, we can refer back to the Byzantine style and see where they've put it. I think it's in decorations, supplies, and there we go, decorations, supplies, and then supply camp. So we've added decorations next to fundamentals, then we're going to add supply camp, or rather supplies. Go into here, paste this, and we have supply camp. So this, in theory, should work. Now, if we also look at the Byzantine style, you can see here, if you want to, you can add like a PNG that has an icon to use. We'll do that in a bit. And it also has pack.json that if you open with Notepad, and yeah, this will have things like the author, the mods required, the name, where the icon is, and yeah, a bit of a description. So what we can do is we can kind of directly copy this. Go to pod style, paste it. And then we can edit it to say what we want to. So it's not Spamanti that designed this, it's me. Hello. It uses structurized and Minecolonies, yes. The name is pod style. We won't say what version it's for because we don't really care. And the description, we're gonna change to simple modular pod style. There we go, basic. And that should work. We'll click save, boom, close it. And this in theory should work. Well, okay, let's jump back in game and see if it does. Okay, so here we go, my dudes. This is the moment of truth. This is where we find out that it's all gone wrong and hasn't worked. So hello and welcome back to yet another Minecolonies series. Yeah, no. So let's go in game, and we've got a supply camp here. Pretty simple craft. You just get 5 chests in a U shape like a boat, and there we go, we've got a supply camp. Oh, now is this gonna work? Moment of truth. Find a nice big flat space, right click, switch pack to, there we go, pod. As you can see, I've added my own little custom logo there. Pretty basic, but there you go, author. Hey, it's me. Simple modular pod style. Boom. Right, here we go. So, has this worked? Kind of. We've got to raise it up a bit because it's below ground level at the moment, but this is the supply camp. So if we press tick on this, not all blocks meet, that ain't right. So it looks like, yeah, we did actually place the tag anchor block in the wrong location. This is supposed to be 1 block lower than it actually was. But if we go down by 1, press tick, it lets us place it now. We still got these ugly things. But okay, yeah, those have disappeared, and we can go back. Basically what I'll do is I'll load the blueprint, lower that tag block so it's in the ground this time, then use that as the ground level. But yeah, for the most part though, it has placed the supply camp, which is this thing. Wow, pretty impressive for a supply camp. But there you go. So cool, okay. Now in theory, in a barrel we have, yeah, there it is, the town hall and the build tool, so we'll get those out. And now what we can do is with the build tool, and we'll put the town hall on the ground level down here, why not? Right click, go to fundamentals, town hall, and we can rotate this, push it against the back wall like that, and pull the trigger, boom, tick, and there it goes. So yeah, boom, create a new colony, and there we go. All good to go. We'll start to get our new dudes, and next up we have to build the builder's hut. Pretty simple, builder hut. We need the tool, some wood, and a door. And there we go, we can slot the builder's hut in the back there. Now I made a slight mistake here. It's 5x5, the pods, and we've left a gap in the roof over here because the bottom floor is oak, and we already planned for that to be part of the build. So as you can see, I'll need to go back and make some modifications to these pods, but for the most part, this has all worked out pretty well. Okay, so the ground level fix. Basically, we fixed the supply camp, we've got the ground level on the right level now, and we did that by placing this cheeky tag anchor block underneath these wooden logs, and we've hidden it away behind this grass. This seems to have fixed the problem because now, when we try and grab a supply camp, right click, and yeah, look, we can place this down. If we move it over a bit, absolutely no problem, boom. And you can't find that tag anchor block. In fact, if you dig this up, you'll see it's just a blank empty space. Also, our pods weren't exactly 5x5. Basically, I forgot that this ground level here of oak planks is going to be the floor. So the actual building kind of starts at the log here and ends here. And that makes this a true 5x5.
Valkyrie's got you in the pipe, 5x5.
So we've redesigned the builder's hut and the town hall to take that into consideration. And there we go. What it does mean actually is we could probably even fit more racks into the level 5 builder's hut. Although this does seem like it's going to be plenty of racks. Yeah, what, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, this is loads of racks. But this has completely fixed the style so far. And so there you go. It really is that simple. There's a few quirks and things we need to change because obviously this is a learning experience for me because this is my first Minecolonies style pack that I've designed. But using this technique, I can add small decorations that are places to house the pods, and I can go back and design every single building to be one of these 5x5 pods. So if you were thinking about building a style for Minecolonies but were slightly intimidated by how much work it was, or how hard and tricky it could be, hopefully this video has helped you out. The wiki from Minecolonies, the official wiki, is very helpful, and it tells you all you need to know for different buildings. If you want to download the pod style, you can hop on over to my Discord, and I'll put it in the Blueprints channel where you can grab it and try it out for yourself, because what I'm going to do is over time just slowly build up this style, add more decorations, more framework, and more pods. It's going to be a pretty simple style, perfect for people that are just getting into Minecolonies or don't really want to mess around building a massive colony. For example, using this as part of like another modded playthrough is ideal. In fact, I kind of designed this as a way for me to do Minecolonies without having to actually build an entire colony. If you have any other questions or have any other ideas for videos you want to see me do about Minecolonies, let me know in the comments section. But until next time guys, a massive thank you for watching and take care.